me get this swapped over and we can get started. There we go. As you see, it is just me here tonight, just for a little bit. Here in about 15-20 minutes, we will have Faulkie joining us. We will be here tonight for probably about an hour and a half, maybe less, possibly more. But as of right now, I am barely able to stand up and barely able to sit down, and so because of that, tonight's show might be cut a little short. But in case it's not, I do have some really cool topics tonight, some stuff. I have been so far out of it because if you're in the Discord, you know I went to the ER on Monday. I felt miserable on Sunday. Yesterday and today, I'm slowly recovering, getting back to even being able to stand up. My back locked up is what happened. And so because of that, I have been so in and out of like awake of consciousness rather like that I haven't really been paying much attention to what's going on. Obviously, I see stuff going on in the Discord. I look at it. I see it. I may comment one or two times, but I haven't really been paying much attention. So tonight, you're going to get a lot of fresh perspectives from me, my raw opinions on a lot of this stuff, because I have not actually been following it up to today. And so, yeah, we have some really cool topics tonight, though. We have PlayStation Plus, and their Essentials program is doing it again. They're giving us great titles once again. Like, they had a good month last month. They're having a good month this month. I'm terribly excited to see what they're going to be giving us going forward. It is still kind of comical that I am happier with the games offered in the Essential tier versus the gaming selection offered in the Premium tier, because I feel like Premium they've done next to nothing with. So, anyways, we're going to discuss that a little bit. I really do enjoy the games that they have coming. Also, the CEO of EA says it wants to turn Battlefield into a platform. That is code for, we want to have a game where we don't have to keep making new games every single freaking 2 years. And we want to monetize the crap out of it. It's going to end up being a live service title. At least that's what it sounds like to me, just by headline. Once again, we're going to read the article together. I might be way off base here. I might not be. And then we will have... we will also be discussing Sony and how they're suing Tencent over Lights of Mortaram. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, I mean, it looks very similar to Horizon, at least in aesthetic. And I did go and watch the trailer the other day when this story was shown in the Discord. And yeah, it's very... If you don't know anything else about the gameplay, you would start looking at this and go and like think to yourself, hey, I wonder if this is a spin-off going over some of the different tribes or the different people groups in Horizon. But we're going to discuss that a little bit because you can't sue for aesthetics alone. If so, there are tons of Dark Soul clones that would have gotten sued by now. You cannot sue over similar. You just can't do it. But they're sure going to try. Heard Rocksteady is doing another live service. Yeah. That game is Horizon Monster Hunter. What's up, Josh Ayers? By the way, guys, if y'all could, go ahead and share this out. Like I said, Faulkie will be joining us here in about probably 10 more minutes. And so the final story of the night is going to be, or one of the topics, the final topic that will be discussed tonight, hopefully, maybe, is Xbox Gamepass revenue almost reached $5 billion, making it a record. That's actually really good. It is. We're going to discuss what that could mean, how they're doing it, and all of that stuff. But like, it's Howdy and Music Hero, huh? They can sue for the art style and the music. That's so weird. If they can, oh, what's up, Voyager88? If they can, that's very weird. Like, I don't know. It's that level of petty does bother me. But I also know there are some more things about that story that I'm really hoping that the article that I picked from GameSpot is covering. But like apparently there was a deal that got turned down by Sony because Tencent wanted to license out, or they wanted them to license out the IP. So there could be some shenanigans going on again, which would make them shenanigans. Like there could be some of those type of deals floating around in the ether that maybe we'll discuss tonight, maybe we won't. So yeah, but Game Pass is bringing in revenue, and honestly, it's kind of interesting when you think about it, because what this is telling me is that the Xbox current branding and current marketing and current shift is actually accomplishing what they want. And so we can hate it, we can make fun of it, we can talk negatively about whatever their direction is, but I will say this, that it seems to be working. And that's something that, hey, listen, being a supporter of Team Blue, where their biggest live service initiatives have not been working, at least one of the companies is accomplishing its goal and what they've set out to do. So that's actually pretty good. Yes, we could make fun of it. Game Pass this, Game Pass that. They don't buy their games, buy their console, whatever. The fact is they've shifted up their marketing, and Game Pass almost raked in $5 billion in revenue last year, which is awesome. Like, not even coping, not even like trying to play the other side. That's just really good, and it shows that their change in direction is actually working. I wish they would have been more forthright and honest about it, but then again, I wish that PlayStation would come out and give us some insight as to calm down everybody's thought process and all the what-ifing about that job posting. So I mean, it is nice because as we've seen and as we've called out their marketing, Xbox that is, we've said that this was the goal and this is where they were going to be. And so because of that, it is nice to see when you see an article where, hey, this is what's happening. Because it does a couple things. One, it affirms what we've all been thinking, and it shows that this shift, even though it was done seemingly suddenly by those who were heavy supporters of Xbox, they were kind of blindsided, or felt that way at least. Like, it does show that this shift is doing what it's supposed to, and that is to grow Game Pass as a platform. And so, yeah, we can discuss that a bit. I know that that's not typically what you might hear on this channel, but we always want to give credit where credit is due, even if we are PlayStation centric. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and dive into the show with all of that. That was the intro. Let me thank those of y'all who have shown up, and let me check something out real quick. That's what I thought. Okay, so right now we have Hero Down Under. We got Josh Ayers, Voyager 88, and that appears to be it. Little Buggy in the Ear said that there is another show that is on right now. Oh, man, there's not enough screens. There's not enough time. That's just what it is. There's not enough time to go around. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and get started. I thank you all for being here. Welcome to the Gaming Den. Hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already. I do this show every single week. Next week I have Game Logic on, so that's going to be awesome, and really looking forward to having him on. This will be his first time on the channel, and because of that we are super excited. And yes, so that's going to be great. With that, yeah, like, share, all that fun stuff, and let's dive in. So what we're going to do is we are going to dive in to the initial PlayStation Plus, just a softball topic. Why do that when they are getting talked about publicly? Huh? Hang on. They did ask to license Horizon, then made this so I can see Sony have a case. I could too. It's working. Yeah. If you know, you know. What game that quote is from? Why do that when they are getting talked about publicly? It's publicity. Oh, okay. Sorry, I read that wrong. Talked about publicity is publicity. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's dive in. So PlayStation Plus news has come out, and we have the lineup for August. This is for Essential, and if you remember last month, we got Diablo, King of Fighters, and Justin? Yeah. And so now, listen, I'm not going to say they're hitting home runs, but this is definitely two in a row. So let me pull this up real quick because we are getting Lies of P, DayZ, and uh, My Hero something Justice 2. I've been told it's a fighter. So we're getting a zombie shooter, which not really my genre, but it's free. I'll check it out. And we are also, well, not free. It's included with my Minecraft. I mean, PlayStation Plus subscription. And then we have Lies of P. So, Lies of P is a game that I would never, ever, ever in a million years purchase outright on my own. But it is also one of those games that I would love to be a part of the service, to download, to try it out, to see if I like it, and move on with life. Like, those games, those titles are actually really, really good, especially for people like me. This is the type of stuff that PS Plus Essential is really good for. And once again, we hate subscription services. Give me just a quick second. Sorry. So this service though, this lineup, things like this, these are specifically geared for gamers like me, right? Gamers that have their lane, that stay in their lane, branch out occasionally, and might be missing out on some really good titles like Lies of P. And so now I'm going to get to try it. I like that, and I know for a fact we don't shill for subscription services here, but I will once again give credit where credit is due, and I do find that Lies of P, DayZ, and a fighting game from My Hero universe, like that's really, really a good lineup, especially on their low-end tier, because I think Lies of P came out last year? Was it last year? Somebody correct me on that. Especially with me going deep into Elden Ring recently. Yeah, My Hero One's Justice, yeah. It uses the My Hero... That's what I keep trying to say. That's why it keeps throwing me off, is the My Hero Academia. Oh, I come out and make a statement to put people at ease. It will stop the talk about Sony. Oh, yeah, that's true. Especially... Yeah, so, like, that... DayZ is cool, but runs choppy for me still. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, and I'd never played DayZ because, like I said, outside of really Last of Us is about as the most zombie type experience I go. Well, that's not true. Black Ops 2 zombie mode, Black Ops 3 zombie mode, like stuff like that. But it's not my thing. Plus, it's a shooter, which also not necessarily my thing. But for free, or included with my subscription that I already pay for, because Minecraft Realms requires you to have a PlayStation Plus subscription, and I have two boys that have been home all summer, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. DayZ. My bad. Did I say Days Gone? Listen, I am on a couple different things for my back, so there's no telling what y'all are gonna hear from me tonight. And that's a fact. Like, there's absolutely no telling. Yeah, I think somebody in the Discord was saying that DayZ, Josh, that it's like a survival multiplayer game, though. And so, like, we do have that side of it where it may be something, since it's free, we can all hop on, have a good time. Have I played Days Gone? Yes. Yes, I have. Did I enjoy it? No. No, I did not. Yeah, that's what I know of it. Exactly. Me too. But Lies of P and then My Hero One's Justice 2, those games, that hits a mark, and I think that they're going to do really well next month on that alone. So yeah, that was a super simple, super easy start to the story. Give me just a half a second over here. Sorry, every time I take a break, it's because I'm breathing through a back spasm, so just bear with me. I am desperately trying to stay and do this because I love hanging out with y'all. Real quick, I did want to point or talk about something, and I'm glad I went and looked at this now. This right here. This game looks freaking sick. Like, we're talking about games coming up. This game looks amazing. And there's a Steam demo of it out right now. So, we might be streaming this if I can get to the point where I can sit down for longer than, 20 minutes. I am actually really, really excited about this. I was missing the show because I didn't recognize the overlay. Oh, man. Well, hey, listen, Nelson, it's good to have you here, man. It's good to have you here. So 4-player co-op hack/action game. This looks so cool. So I honestly do not remember seeing anything about this dang thing. Nothing. And
what you humans have unleashed.
Let me turn that down a bit.
Because of you, the sun is dying. We had no choice but to intervene. No choice.
Oh, that's why I didn't know anything about it. The dadgum thing was announced a day ago. So this game looks really fun.
Remember that you don't have to fight this alone.
The art style reminds me a bit of like a Ratchet and Clank almost. Mixed with a Hades or a... no, not Hades, the other one. Dead's Gone Dead. Dead's Gone. Oh, what's it called? I hope I don't get copywritten for the music. I just thought of that. Crap, what's it called? Dead Cells. That's it. It looked kind of reminiscent of those. I am excited though. That game for me looks really, really fun, and I'm ready to try it out. As a matter of fact, I might go ahead and just get that thing downloading so it's ready to go, because it does look really good. And having a demo on Steam, that's now that I have Steam, like that's going to get played. Like I said though, just need to be able to sit down for a little bit. Yeah, so let me know. Are y'all excited for this? Is this something that y'all would be playing? Is this something that y'all think about? Dead Cells, close. Sending a threatening DMs for no reason. I was close to catching a stray for changing my title and my logo. That's it. Man, this does look really good though. And I like that it's co-op. Like, that's fantastic. This is going to be a great, fun game. I wonder if it's going to be free to play or how much it's going to be at launch or whatnot. I know nothing about it. And so I'm actually kind of excited about this. Just based on the combat and everything alone. Okay. So, there is all of that. That was one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring up tonight was this game because I saw it, thought it looked really cool. Looks cool. I thought the people in the Discord would like it. Dude, it was so... You were spot on. Like, it literally... you saw what Henry said. Henry's like, oh man, they're day one. And like, yeah, the game looks really fun. And it's really fun. It looks like a good streaming game. It looks like a good game to have an online presence for it. Which, right now, lower key titles like this, that's one of the ways that they survive. That they get... their sales is through some of those streaming services and through streamers, rather. But like, it looks really, really good. Dead Cell. I shared in the Discord yesterday. When it got a year. What's it doing? Okay. Sorry, just wanted to make sure I was checking up with everything. All right, on to the next topic. Hey, speaking of, I'm gonna put a hang on. Let me put a I'm gonna put a poll up because I really want to know, because a lot of us talk about how bad we hate subscription services, but I really do want to know. Let me try this real quick. I'm gonna put a poll up, and the question's gonna be: do you still have PS Plus? That's what I want to know. I want to know if you still have PS Plus, and that's in any form. All right, that's in any form. Let's start that. because it's pretty interesting how much we hate, and I say we, including myself. Like I said, I'm back on the PlayStation Plus bandwagon because both of my children wanted to play Realms on Minecraft, one on the Switch, one on the PlayStation, and I had to sign back up for Plus. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is next week. I'll pick it up when I get a PS5 again. Yeah, Josh, dude, I would lose it if my PS5 died. I really would. Like the other day, I kid you not, man. The other day, my youngest got frustrated and shut the PlayStation off wrong. And I didn't know that. So I went back to start it up, and the button on the controller wouldn't work. It wouldn't start it. So I had to press the button on the front, and that didn't do anything. So I held the button in, and then finally, it did what it was supposed to. Finally. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god, this thing is broken. And the screen came up, and it said, reformatting something or another, PlayStation was shut off wrong or improper or whatnot. And I just looked at him, and I said, dude, what did you do? And he was like, well, I just kind of like pressed all the buttons and made it turn off. And I was like, by all the buttons, you mean like on the controller and on the PlayStation? He goes, yeah. And I was like, oh. Okay, so I have no idea still exactly what he did. But thankfully, the thing turned back on. But I was like, no, this can't happen to Josh and then me. And mine's been vertical, so now I'm like, man, maybe it was the liquid metal. Maybe it was the liquid metal. But we have... what happened here? Hang on. Okay. Kind of have to for online games, right? Right. Yeah. Unless you play the free-to-play ones. So once we get a little bit into this poll, we'll then start another one here in a second. Because I'm interested to know what tier people have at that point. Like, if, sure, we have the, yes, I have to have it, cool. What tier do you have? And I'm going to put deluxe in there, too, because I know some of y'all in Australia I don't think can get premium. So want to put that in there as well for y'all. But let's finish off this poll first. Who do we have so far? Okay, here we go. Let's move back. All right, so let's go forward. I just said let's move back, and now let's go forward. And guys, listen, Faulkie, like I said, he'll be here in probably another 30 minutes. Not another 30 minutes, probably another 5-10 minutes. And then we'll be good to go with him as well. Let me get over here real quick and check something. Sorry. I normally do all of this stuff during the time when my other guests are talking. So give me a sec. Okay, there we go. All right, so EA CEO says it's all in as a company on Battlefield 6. Is building a platform rather than a product. Oh, goodness. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, crap, I'll get cited for that one. Disney's going to come after my... No, wait, they, I think Disney unlicensed or uncopyright or something, Mickey Mouse. I don't remember. I think there was a story about that. See Fresh. I'm subbed to PS Plus Premium till 2027. That's awesome. Until 2027. I like it. All right, so what does this mean? Because when I first read this headline, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the show, when I first read this headline, my initial gut reaction is, oh, great. They're going to go full on live service, full on this and that. It's going to be just this. It's going to be like Call of Duty Modern, or not Modern Warfare, Warzone. It's going to be just like Warzone, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. I have deluxe, so stay still. FOK Faulkie. Okay. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Let me come over here. But yeah, so I think of automatically Call of Duty Warzone. I think that over-bloated, always growing, always trying to improve, never really, like, improving to the level that the players want you to, but just kind of, hey, this is going to be what we do for now. That's it. This is this is what we do. Almost like a Sea of Thieves, like a game that's just is always living, always around, and that's what I thought. So, let's see if I was right. Excuse me. Hang on. Okay, here we go. Alright, so here we go. Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson says it's all in as a company on Battlefield 6. We already just read that in the title. In a QA during its earnings call following the publication of its Q1 results for fiscal year 2016, Wilson was asked to talk about EA's marketing strategy for Battlefield 6. Holy crap, Faulkie, you're here.
Yes, apologies for my tardiness.
Oh, jeez, I gotta dock your pay. Give me a sec.
I'll be paying you if you do that.
Speaking of, if anybody would like to pay me, you can hit the join button. You become a member of the channel. It's like $5 a month. Really helps out. And yeah, good segue on that one, Faulkie. Faulkie, how are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Again, apologies for my tardiness. I've been tied up in some meetings that ran a lot longer than they should have. So.
No, you're totally fine, man. It's totally fine. So
that time of year.
We talked about PlayStation Plus a little bit already, because I feel like the Essential program is absolutely wiping the floor with Premium, especially the past couple months. Now, I know we have ebbs and flows and stuff like that, but just kind of praising Sony a little bit for the offerings in Essential. And so, did you have anything possibly to add to that, or are we good to keep talking about Battlefield 6?
No, keep firing away. Don't let me circle back on stuff that you've probably strangled to death.
I probably did. I'm very good at strangling things. And moving on. So, certainly you're going to see a lot more in a couple of days. Wilson replied, "We've been investing more behind this Battlefield than any other Battlefield product before it. And really the big reason for that is that this isn't just a product. We're really building out Battlefield as a platform. And you'll hear a lot more about this in just 2 days' time. It will become more clear about the nature of our investment over the last 4 years, with 4 studios building against this launch to date. So they've had 4 studios working on Battlefield 6 currently to date. The full multiplayer reveal for Battlefield 6 will take place on July 31st, and Wilson said this would be a real start for its marketing push. As with how we've thought about marketing the product, we're going to get right behind it. Great, duh. We're all in as a company. You may have seen the release trailer a week or so ago. That was very well received. Of course, it's just a release trailer. Most of our gamers are sitting there waiting for the big reveal that comes in just a couple days. We have hundreds of creators and influencers flying into LA, don't give a shit, and we're really excited about that because in addition to the various pieces of the overall experience that players have been seeing as part of the Battlefield Labs, we are going to really gain alignment with the community around the development of this product, this platform. This will be the first time people really see this true scale of what we've been building and to get a sneak peek at what's to come. All right. So also there was a drop that came out about 20 minutes ago that supposedly October 10th is the release date for Battlefield 6. That's interesting. There is supposedly there's supposedly a beta coming September 4th, October 4th, August 4th, something like that. There's supposedly a beta coming out for it. And so we have a ton of stuff. The biggest thing I want to focus on is Battlefield 6 as a platform. I do not like the idea that it's a platform. I think they're trying to go, like I said, the Sea of Thieves route, the Call of Duty Warzone route, the Fortnite style where the game is just ever living. And I don't know, maybe with the launch and how bad the launch of Battlefield 5 was, I figured that they would not do that just yet. Maybe release this game, see how it does, and then have plans later to introduce it as, hey, this is just going to be evergreen now, right? This is just going to be a game that is around literally forever. Well, until they shut the servers down. But that's kind of where I was thinking that they would go with it. And I don't know, Faulkie, what do you think? Is this just going to turn into a live service mess like a Destiny? That's the game I'm thinking of, like a Destiny, where it's constantly just updating and that's it? Or I don't know. How do you think they're going to be able to do with that?
Well, it is EA, as everyone points out. They do an awful lot of yapping and then not do an awful lot of actions to back it up. I mean, oh, look, we can sit here and wax lyrical and carry on about what they've done in the past well, what they've not done well. They've put a lot of investment behind it. They've put a lot of investment behind The Last Dragon Age 2 and saw how that ended. I don't trust their top dogs when they open their mouth and start spruiking about the granular level stuff.
About the developer stuff, right?
Trust. Well, if it'd be different if the team came out and said, "Hey, we've been throwing huge amount of hours at this. We're really excited. We've made these improvements. We think this is going to be great. We think you're going to love it. We love it. We're really proud of it and all that." If the developers and the studios, granular people that are working on it came out and said that, and said it en masse, and weren't just saying it through their PR piece, but saying it in, it might be staged, but saying it through different interaction points. When I say staged, be controlled to a degree. But if you've got them saying it on their own personal social medias and all that sort of stuff about how excited and pumped up they are about this thing and how it's done such a great job, that's one thing. But when you've got boss of company standing up there talking this stuff and he's spruiking it in this manner, automatically my brain is going, he's talking to the investors.
Yeah.
He's trying to pump sentiment up for the investors because he's got a skin in the game with his share portfolio that just vested and he wants to make some cash.
Yeah.
It does not bode well. It's call it the Phil effect. Or the Matt Booty effect. Or, Christ, you can even call it the Herman effect if you wanted to. When the guy at the top, whose primary job is around governance and corporate leadership, he got nothing to do with the development stuff. He's 6 to 7 stories well removed from that. When they're standing there banging on about how proud they are and happy they are and all this sort of stuff, it's talking points presented to them. They're not talking earnestly about it. Take it for what it is. Just mouthing off about something. We have no clue. We haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything back from the beta tests. I don't think they've happened yet. I've heard nothing about the alpha tests. I don't think they were even done out in the wild. I think they were all done physically behind closed doors. They've got all this history in the past where they've said this is going to be this is going to be that. Battlefield 2042 was supposed to blow Call of Duty out of the water and it didn't even touch the sides. Like, it's not even close. They needed COD to stumble big and then produce something amazing to even get close to it. COD stumbled. I don't feel the energy that this thing's gonna make those big inroads. You never know. Sometimes you get lightning in a bottle, just by sheer circumstance. But I mean, I don't see the energy coming from the developers. And to put it into context, you see a lot of the the PlayStation first party devs, or even the Xbox first party devs, Sega devs. You get some of the European guys, people from 505, not 505. I can't remember what their name is now. Who's the one who did the one with all the rats in it?
Oh, Requiem.
Requiem.
Shoot. Plague Tale.
Yeah. The developer who did that, they've got a new one coming and they're spruiking it big time. And they're happy. They're talking about how excited they are and how Asobo, that's it. They're talking about how happy and proud they are with what they're building. Now they know it's not, and a lot of them are saying we know it's not perfect, but we're happy and proud to be producing this. And what do you get from the EA devs working on this? And there's not just a couple of them. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of them supposedly working on this. And that's for me. Is the test of, is this going well or not? And they might be under, they can't say anything and all the rest of it. But Christ, it's not rocket science if you got the big boss who knows nothing about what the hell's going on, and he doesn't, as much as he professes to do. He doesn't, and I'll say that because if he's if he's getting in amongst the weeds and getting in the detail at such a granular level on one particular game, he's not doing his job properly because he's not meant to be doing that. He's meant to be looking after the broader company from a governance and compliance perspective and people leadership and corporate leadership and all that sort of stuff. His job is to deal with the board and to deal with all that governance crap. His job is not to go down to the studio and start prodding people and asking them for their opinion on a game.
I mean, everything you said sounds good. It sounds accurate. Sounds like yes, it's the investors call. That's the thing at the beginning that I meant to highlight was this is an earnings call. So there's a couple things. One, it's an earnings call, so they are going to try to fluff up the investors. They have to. They have to give them a reason to be happy. Like it's like when Sony came out and said, "Hey, our numbers are down, but that's okay because we expected them to be down. But also look over here at this number." I can't remember what the number was, what the category was. They were like, "Look at this number because this number is actually really, really good for where we are in the life cycle of the PS5." And so they have to do that. Every company does that. And Faulkie, I didn't even think about it from the stance that you took, that this is something that they have to do. This is something that you have to you also have to put through the lens of EA, and that's what you were saying, where EA promises a lot of crap, and that promise doesn't always get fulfilled. And a lot of their studios have had issues releasing games bug-free or at least fully playable at launch. Or if they were fully playable, like Dragon Age, then you have other issues that are surrounding the game. And EA's been in this turmoil, it seems like, for the past decade. And then you have Madden and college football coming out. All of these things are ran by EA corporate, right? Then obviously you have other sections of EA that do the development and the other things related to the game, but EA seems to always be in the conversation about games that are releasing and also in a negative light about how those games have been releasing. So it'll be interesting, and I said it last week, that I think if Battlefield 6 can actually land properly, doesn't even have to be knock your socks off, but if it can land as a complete game, ready to play, day one, no server issues, actually people logging in, getting into the game, getting into their matches, doing what they want, having a good time, no glitches, no lags, then they have a very good chance to gain some of that footing that Faulkie mentioned. He had mentioned that two things have to happen. One, Call of Duty has to stumble. And two, you have to be able to hit it out of the park. Well, if Call of Duty has already stumbled, which we have seen that's why there's so many other games attempting at this space right now, because they smell blood. I was talking to somebody in the real world, quote unquote, about that, and him and I were talking about Battlefield 6, and he was like, "Man, have you seen the new trailer for that?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I have." He goes, "How do you think it's going to do?" I said, "Well," and then basically went in with what I've been telling y'all, that, hey, listen, if they don't screw it up, if they launch it, if it comes out good, all that stuff, then they have a shot. He goes, "Well, do you think it can take down Call of Duty?" And I was like, "Bro, Call of Duty's taking down itself." And I was like, that's why we've seen so many of these shooters, so many of them come out and attempt at least. You had the finals, you have the first or last Descendant, first Descendant, whatever, the Descendants. You had Concord, we got to mention it, even though it literally came and left. But those are just three right off the top of my head without any scripting or any research, and I'm sure there's probably 10 to 12 more. And it's because Call of Duty's been slipping. They really have. People are never satisfied with whatever comes out, but they keep playing it because that's where all my friends play and I have no other options. Well, these companies are listening to that and going, hey, let's see if we can give them another option. Battlefield has a name recognition. It has the chance to do it. And 4 studios or 4 companies working on the title, that's pretty big. That might just be investor talk, but that also does tell us, like Faulkie said, they have a ton of hands on this project. And so they have a shot. I know there's people in the Discord who are excited about it. I know that the casual gamer in general always sees a Battlefield title and they're like, hey, we should check that out. Because it does have that brand recognition and that name recognition. So, time will definitely tell. I'm interested to get some stuff back on it to see kind of what folks are starting to say about it. Obviously, those are going to be skewed because they're getting flied out. Go ahead, Faulkie.
I just gonna agree with you on the wrap up that I think there's some people out there on social media that get around some of the same podcasts that we guest on. B Money's a big fan of Battlefield. Persona's big fan of Battlefield. Not Persona, sorry. Yeah, it is Persona, isn't it?
Persona?
Yeah, I think so. There's a couple of others on that they're massive fans of Battlefield, and they've always lined up and any time there's a new game come out, they give it its fair. Hey, there's a gap, there's a wedge, there's a crack. The door is creaking open, and it's not just the COD. There's other first-person shooter, battle royale mode, and all this other stuff that's supposedly coming with it. It could be a sweet spot that they nailed it, or it could be a complete bloody jambalaya of who the hell knows what they've tried to do here, and it just falls on its face. But we won't know until they release it. So
you're not wrong. It could come out and be a total disaster. Oh, speaking of games coming out soon, hopefully not being a total disaster, did you see the trailer for Godbreakers?
I did.
What's your thoughts on that? I'm actually really excited. It is a 4-player hack and slash, and I love hack and slash titles.
It looked interesting. There's not an awful lot of multiplayer online hack and slash games in the market at the moment, and traditionally they don't do amazing. But
games that are not called Diablo or Path of Exile, yes, agreed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like they're pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into this one.
No.
This is the small team, frugal investment. They've got something in an art style that looks pretty cool. They've got a game mechanics and whatnot that look pretty cool. Depends on how they play when you get it in hand. But it's it looks like it could just be again just a whole heap of fun for a very decent price.
That's kind of the more and more. That's actually what I think gamers are looking for, and I think that's why that $50 price tag is so attractive, because you generally get a game that's really good, that's really fun, and that you feel like isn't overpriced, and it may not have the marquee stuff. Like, part of Godbreaker does look a little mobile-y. Like, I'm not like that art style, that kind of cartoony. It's kind of like I said, it was a cross between, in my mind, it's a cross between Dead Cells and Ratchet and Clank with a bit more of a cartoon style. Yeah. Almost like you took those two art styles, merged them together, and then put them through a Fortnite like filter. And that's kind of what it looks like to me. So that's none of the things that I just said inherently make it bad at all. Like, those art styles are very well known, they're very well received, and I think that people genuinely like that art style. That's why people keep using it. I'm just letting you know what I think it looks like. And go ahead.
It's art styles. People go to town on graphical power and graphical prowess, and the thing runs at amazing graphical requirements. And some of the best-selling games, most popular games on the planet, do not need graphical power and prowess, and no one gives a rat's ass about it in that respect.
No.
And a great example of that is Fortnite. Who cares?
Who cares?
Look at Metaphor Refantasio. Was it Metaphor Refantasio? Anime art style.
Yeah.
Thing was brilliant. Gameplay, mechanics, all that. Massive success. Anime art style. Look at the focus on the new Marvel Tokon game. Same deal. Japanese anime art style.
Whew.
That thing looks amazing.
It looks so good.
It's not trying to be photorealistic. But then you look at some of the other ones that that are like, Call of Duty. We got to have it. It's got to be so realistic. It's got to look just like the real world. No one cares. If you can squeeze another 20 frames out of that, and it's just a blurred mess because they're, characters out of Family Guy, like, who cares? Who cares?
So now you bring up a good point, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you get these sort of games. They might look like a bit like a mobile kind of game. Well, they may do, but the art style in them is part of the quirkiness or the fun of the game. Ratchet and Clank, an example there. It's really schmick, but they haven't changed those character models for 20 years. Who cares? It really comes down to if it's got to look brilliant, but the mechanics are crap, and there's no fun in it, and you're just in an empty space. What have you achieved? It's these little gameplay things and how it looks and how you can interact. And again, Helldivers 2, is it a graphical masterpiece? No.
God, no.
Fuck no, not even close.
It does look cool, though.
Hell yeah. It does look cool, but is it fun to play? Hell yeah. Especially with friendly fire and you forget where you're running and all of a sudden you're dead because your mate's firing and you ran across in front of him.
And nobody's saying sorry, they're just laughing.
Yeah. And no one, the music cranks the pressure up and everyone starts to get tense, and then all of a sudden, it just winds up in a crescendo, and everyone at the end of it is if they're lucky enough to get on the ship, everyone's laughing their ass off because there's that so much fun because there's these odd little things. You imagine if you turned friendly fire on in Fortnite. How many people would be shooting their teammates in the back of the head just to get even on something? Like it would be phenomenal. But that's not the gameplay mechanics of Fortnite. But back to this particular game. We'll play a hack and slash. Can we carve each other up or not? Because geez, that could become quite interesting if you're trying to close battle your way through something.
I say no.
On a boss,
I say no. I hated Battletoads back in the day because the first Battletoads they had friendly fire on it, and my brother and I would always end up killing each other, and I hated it so much. Battletoads 2, they actually took that and made it an option where you could turn it on or off.
Yep.
Minecraft. I've been playing that more with my sons, and whenever we play, friendly fire is turned off because I hate the idea, at least in those games, which is so weird because in Helldivers it's fun, but in other games I'm like, okay, this is annoying. I don't want to get killed when we're both just trying to fight something. Like that doesn't make any sense. But in Helldivers, I don't know. It's different. I want to touch on something you said though, because you mentioned how graphically speaking, gamers aren't necessarily as enthralled with graphics as we might think, right? As some people might think. Because I know I'm not the only person that thinks graphics are a big deal, but I also fully understand, because of the type of games I play, that gameplay and story, it's like one of those, I don't think it's called a Venn diagram. Is it? It's the circle diagram that has the
2 circles and they cross. Yeah, it's a Venn diagram.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like that. Like, you can have good graphics, good story, and okay combat, and the game is still good. You can have great combat, great story, okay graphics, and the game is still good. But when you start only having one of those things, like a Godfall, where it had beautiful graphics, shitty story, shitty combat, it was a terrible game. It looked absolutely stunning. Still to this day, that game looks amazing on the PS5. It absolutely looks good. And it was a launch title, and everything else about that game was ass. So the game was terrible. But when we start talking about graphics, and we start talking about graphics in video games and how we might be starting to see this, like, where gamers don't really necessarily care as much as maybe we think they do, I look at a game like Expedition 33, where one of its biggest selling points, sure, the story, the combat, the gameplay, sure, all of those were on point and wonderful. But every single person who talked about it talked about how this is what we want from Square Enix. We want a game that looks like this, that plays like this, at that quality, at those graphical capabilities. That's what we were comparing it to, because graphically speaking, it was one of the few times we've seen a non-Square Enix come out and try to swing heavy into a realistic art style with turn-based combat and whatnot. And Square Enix hasn't done it in a long time, and so folks were really hammering home the graphical prowess of Sandfall Interactive and how they used Unreal 5 and all of that. So it's interesting that certain games, definitely it's a factor, and it's one of the huge talking points, and others, it has absolutely nothing to do with its success whatsoever. And both of those games exist in that $40 to $50 price range, and even lower. We have some other games coming out like Shinobi, Ninja Gaiden, the more retro style. Those games are coming out soon, and like those titles are going to be $30-$40, and people will pay it because they want that gameplay, they want that loop, and they believe the gameplay is going to be enough. And in those cases, that art style is a selling point of the game. But like,
the next Kingdom Hearts, we've seen the pre-render stuff from a couple of years ago, and then we've heard nothing from it. I don't care. I don't care if it is the graphical masterpiece, but
I have an idea of how they're gonna take this. And okay, so this is why we don't get shit accomplished. We have 2 more topics to get to, by the way, guys. 2 more. That's it. Just 2. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts.
We've got 2 topics in 20 minutes. So.
2 topics in 20 minutes. That's right. So listen, here's how we do this. Kingdom Hearts 4, right? The Soros is gonna wake up in Shibuya and feel like everything is a dream. Okay? Everything is a dream, nothing's real, nothing that happened actually happened. Then he's going to be walking along and Mickey's going to come out. And Mickey is going to like have him into like a portal or something, or into like a secret room or whatnot, and like reveal to him that there's this big huge plot going on, and like it's now affecting here and blah blah blah. And so like, yeah, that's kind of how I think it's gonna happen, which would be super cool, because it'd be like, hey, it was a dream, fake out to the fans, like use the cop out and be like, oh no, it was just a dream, and then go, oh actually no, it was all real, and now it's any of the problems that were over there are now coming to affect real world whatever. So that's just kind of what I think is going on. Anyways, yes, we are on a new plot for KH. They finished Dark Seeker in 3. Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. Faulkie isn't saying a word because he's like, we got to get to the next topic. We got to go. All right, here we go. Sony is suing Tencent over Horizon lookalike. All right, so first thing we're going to do is I'm going to turn this on, and we're going to watch. And through the entirety of the thing, please tell me at what point you stopped thinking this was just a DLC for Horizon Forbidden West. Just let me know at what point you're like, oh, this is just a DLC, or oh, no, this is its own game. That's all I want to know. Just when did you first see it as just its own game? Now, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we are going to watch about the first couple minutes of it, so give me just a sec. Here we go. And let me get some sound. So right here, I'm like, okay, this is not Horizon. Oh, wait. Never mind. Definitely Horizon. Oh, yep. Those are the. You can explain that away with them being the outside pumps for some of the factories they had. Oh, yep. Drones. We had those. The silver with the blue. Yep. This all looks very Horizon. Oh, okay, yeah, a whole new land and horizon. Sweet, we're gonna find a new people. This is great. They're discovering things.
Wade Cow.
Oh. Oh, we get to experience another person's story.
I call you forth, the fourth breath I grant you,
Oh.
to live in this world which spirals against time.
Uh-huh. Cool. And at this point in the trailer, I'm like, dude, they gave us more animals. This is great. More structures. Looks exact. This 1000%. This is Horizon. Uh-huh. All right. So, after the glide wing, let's go ahead and just stop there. I'm sorry, not the glide wing. That's... Oh, look, a barrier, but instead of being blue, it's orange. That's different. I like that.
Doesn't the headdress look the same?
The headdress... Okay, so... I said we just watched the first couple minutes. It's been 2 minutes and 4 seconds. You can go find this. That's on their page. Alright, so... Sony is suing Tencent over Horizon lookalike. Sony Interactive Entertainment has filed a lawsuit against Tencent over its game Lights of Mortaram. With Sony saying it is a slavish clone of the Horizon series. The suit, which was filed on July 25th in California, and was seen by GameSpot, sees Sony going after Tencent for copyright and trademark infringement, with Sony demanding a trial by jury. Sony said it is trying to prevent the release of Lights of Mortaram. Tencent's copying of Horizon is so blatant that the public has described it as crazy, insane, and shameless, Sony said in the lawsuit. I want to know who they're quoting there. SIE further alleged that Tencent came to the company with a pitch to license the Horizon IP, to which SIE declined. Sony said Tencent is deliberately causing numerous game lovers to confuse Light of Mortaram as the next game in the Horizon series, by way of Tencent promoting it with a ripoff of Horizon's Aloy character. So they're going after the character of the main character, okay? Tencent's conduct has caused and is causing irreparable injury to SIE, the company said. I don't agree with that necessarily. Sony is seeking statutory damages up to $150,000 for each separate work in the Horizon franchise that's infringed on, as well as for Tencent to deliver SIE's lawyers all products and marketing materials bearing... Damn! So basically, all of it gone. Anything that we can pee on that we say is ours, you have to give us. That's wild. So basically that kills the game. Kills the game dead. That's what it would do. Now, here's the thing. I don't know anything about the gameplay of this game. I don't know anything about the level up system. I don't know anything about anything. The backstory, the main story. I don't know anything. I do know, however, that game looks like nothing more than a Horizon DLC. So, if you're going to go after main character, if you're going to go after some of the artwork and some of the way that it's presented, absolutely I think you have a case. If you're going to try to say they copied you and then... I don't know. Maybe they can make a case that, well, because we didn't copy your gameplay, because we didn't copy the premise, because we didn't copy this, all of that is null and void. But at the same time, I could definitely see the other side where they're like, hey, no, obviously this is meant to look just like our game. Obvious. Like, there is no question that that's at least what's going on here. And I think anybody with two eyeballs can look at this and look at Tencent and go, yeah, y'all probably did do that.
You should have changed a few colors at least. You could have tried.
Well, they did. The shield was orange and not blue. So
yeah, but the red grass is the red grass. I mean, come on. So a bit of background on me. I umpire AFL football, and we have constantly people do stuff to try and get away with it. And then you get ones that just blatantly don't try and they get in trouble. And they go, well, why am I getting in trouble for it? And my response always to those is because you didn't even bother to try and hide it. You could have made some effort to at least try and look like you were, making an effort, and you gave me nothing. So what do you want me to do? These guys, it's effectively the same as like, we couldn't get what we wanted through the license. We've then gone, oh, well, stuff it. We'll just make it anyway. And hence the consequences are, as you explained. I do think there's some interesting stuff here. One, where they're taking them to court. It's not in Europe because, remember, Guerrilla owns the IP. It's Guerrilla's IP. They're not taking them to court in Japan through Sony IP head office. They're doing it in California, where there are laws that allow for them to basically go after it. And they're saying that, all these infringements and copyrights and patents and all that sort of stuff. It is quite interesting that Sony's doing this after the shit show that happened with Marathon and Bungie and their artists and, pinching some artwork and all the rest of that. So, turn a negative into a positive is one perspective of it. But, regardless of the gameplay, if it looks like a duck and smells like a duck and you own the patent to the duck, well, what more can be done? But I suspect it's more of a power play than when you scratch the surface and you actually, you read through the documents. And yes, I'm the nerd that read through the 48-page document. It's an open and shut point where they're just hammering them for everything that is blatant. Trial by jury will be because the jury will go, yeah, stuff it. The Chinese are trying to rip you off. Have a heap of cash. The outcome may be that it's a power play to wedge Tencent to agree to something else or to do something else or to, try and push the point on another objective. And I'll go down the tinfoil hat route here, just vary into that slightly. Arrowhead is backed by Tencent with the Helldivers 2 on the Xbox.
Yep.
Sony has said nothing. They have not even breathed in that direction. And then all of a sudden, Tencent's getting its ass sued off them for their next major game release. If you were going to pick battles, which one would be the battle you would pick? Certainly wouldn't be Helldivers 2 going to Xbox, because we know that thing's not going to sell much, not going to do much, and it's a gimme for PlayStation for the publishing arrangement that whatever gets sold, they're going to get money back for. But if you had to pick one or the other, which battle would you fight? And I'd take this one rather than the Helldivers one.
Well, this one's easy.
Be easy. It's an absolute knock-in, tap-in, and it's going to either result in a shirtload of cash, or it's going to result in Tencent being forced into some arrangement around this game and licensing agreement, or they're just going to shut it down. And then Sony PlayStation is basically putting its colours to the mast of, you can't come over here and do this shit. Let's not forget, Tencent and Sony are in partnerships all over the world, in joint investment partnerships and strategic partnerships and technical partnerships and shit everywhere. So the fact that it's gotten to a lawsuit perspective is an interesting outcome. But I really don't think it was it's taken this long and it's just a knee-jerk reaction. I'd say as soon as that trailer came out, however long ago it was, there was conversations going on about, no, we told you no, and you can't do this, and you need to turn it off. And we hadn't heard anything about the game for a while, and all of a sudden, bang, it just popped up. So I imagine it's the response to something that happened that Tencent did that PlayStation wasn't in, or Sony wasn't involved in, and Sony's not happy about it. And people want to, cast aspersions towards the leadership for PlayStation and Sony at the moment. So if you want to go and take them on, good luck, because they don't play what's immediately in front of them. They play the long game, and they're going to make a bag out of this. There'll be big dollars associated with the payout, or there'll be some things may just not ever make it to market.
So that's my thing. This game was supposed to be releasing, I think, next year, or maybe late this year. If that happens, the way that lawsuits normally work is they typically take a while. So there is a scenario where this game gets released and then either gets yanked off the market, delisted, whatever. But if there is a physical copy, folks who have a physical copy should be able to play it unless it's like an MMO online only type deal.
Well, that's the other thing. The Horizon MMO game is still being developed.
Correct.
It's being primarily developed for PC and mobile. It's not being developed for console. If it's meant to be coming out next year and it's got this thing coming out right next to it and it's supposedly aimed at the Chinese market, why wouldn't you go and try and sue them for it?
That could be what they mean when they say it's can be irreparably hurting their investment.
Yeah. Well, the value of an IP is only what you can sell it for, what its discounted cash flows are worth. If you can't sell it, it's worth nothing.
Well, and people can say what they want. Horizon sold 38 million copies. So, like, that's over, like, 7 games, I think, 6 games. And so
something like that.
They're doing pretty freaking good. Even if we all look at it and go, man, maybe you're milking it just a bit too much. Maybe the Lego game was just a bit of an overstep. Like, can we rein it back in just a bit?
But that's the thing. If they've got Horizon licensed out to Lego for that game, and it's a finite, a definitive period that it is, if it's an exclusive licensing agreement for that IP, then they may not have been able to say yes to Tencent for doing this. And then there's another infringement. The Lego company could go after them for infringing on a license that they own. It could be more than just this one suit. It just depends on what's in those agreements. But
yeah,
it'll get settled. I reckon it'll get settled out of court. It won't even make it to a jury.
All right, I'm gonna have to finish this last topic real quick, and then I gotta go. I need to get out of here. My back is absolutely on fire right now. So, the last thing, and it's not a negative. It's not a negative. I need y'all to hear me when I say that. You can be like, yeah, it is. You're still thrifty. No, I get that, but it's not a negative. Xbox Game Pass revenue was nearly $5 billion for the first time over the last year. Once again, there's no punchline here. Xbox Game Pass revenue reached a new record for Xbox over the last year, achieving nearly $5 billion in revenue for the first time. This comes from the company's Q4 and full year earnings results covering the last 12 months ending June 30th, 2025. While CEO Satya Nadella announced the milestone on the call, he did not provide specific revenue numbers. Thank you. Specific revenue numbers for Game Pass. Nadella did not share subscriber numbers. They did say, that said, Game Pass subscribers are confirmed to have reached 34 million back in February of 2024. Blah, 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 blah. That is a number. Who gives a shit? KKKKK. Being KG. There we go. Overall, gaming revenue was up for Xbox 10% year over year, and Xbox content and services was up 13%, driven by growth in first-party content and, yes, Xbox Game Pass. Hardware revenue was down year over year. We're going to focus on this little statement right here. Because the reason why I said there is no punchline, the reason why I said that there is nothing that is, I'm not spinning this into a negative at all. For the past year and a half to 2 years, we have been telling folks that Xbox is going away and Game Pass is going to be all they care about. Xbox themselves finally starts coming out and embracing that with "This is not an Xbox." My wife sent me something yesterday. It was hilarious. She was like, "Why are they marketing on? I just saw the Fire Stick. What are they doing? Like technology advancements and they're declining." I was like, "That's hilarious," because her and I don't talk about this stuff. And so she grabbed that just off of like, why in the hell would somebody want Xbox on their Fire Stick? That makes no damn sense. So, just from an outside perspective, from a non-gamer, that was her thought. But what it shows is that everything that they've done leading up to this is actually working. All of their strategy of moving people to PC, of moving people away from their console, of getting people used to being on Game Pass, of buying all these studios and all of that. Now, is it working as fast or as slow or whatnot? We can get into that on a different topic. But, like, it is working. And so, That's why I'm saying that there's not anything in here that's really negative, quote unquote, news for Xbox. Their gaming revenue was up by 10%. Their Xbox content and services was up by 13, driven in part by Gamepass, and their hardware is down by 22. All of those make complete 100% sense, and if I was in their boardrooms, I would look at that and go, great. Our console is waning. That's exactly what we want. We want the console to wane. That's good. We want our contents and services to go up because, as we know, Satya Nadella is all about the contents and services, and that seems to be exactly what is happening. So, Faulkie, I fully understand that $5 billion is probably not where it needs to be to actually move the needle with what they're probably wanting at this point, but do you agree that it is showing that their marketing is working and what they're trying to accomplish over there is seemingly working for them?
No.
No? Okay. What you got?
Well, they've stopped discounting the damn thing to begin with, and that's a contributing factor to it. We've also had it's stating that Game Pass annual revenue. It's not saying that it's subscription revenue. It's saying annual revenue derived from Game Pass is $5 billion, and the way they attribute revenue into Game Pass is a bit hit and miss at times in its consistency.
Okay.
When I go and look at the other numbers though in the slides, they say gaming revenue grew 10% year on year. Xbox content and service revenue grew 13% year on year, driven by growth in first-party content and Xbox Game Pass.
Correct.
And the hardware was down 22%. The 10% and 13% growth has come after they've put games out onto PlayStation and other platforms, and they have sold well. So you would expect the revenue dollar amount to be increasing. And now when they say, Game Pass PC's been improving and other bits and pieces have been going well, that's great because they're not discounting the sale of. It's not these $1 deals or 3 months for free and all the rest of it. What I would like to know, and I haven't had the time to go and dig out yet, but what I would like to know is how much of that Game Pass derived revenue is it actually for the number of subscriptions and whatnot that's coming through for it. Because if you say the baseline of, what are they saying, 35 million
35 million supposedly
is what they're supposedly doing.
Yes.
That would be that divided by 12 $12 a month. $11.91 a month is the average. What should it be?
Oh, I see.
That's the question. If you're in the boardroom, we're saying we've got $5 billion. Great. What should we have gotten if we had 35 million?
At the actual number that we want.
Yeah. What's the mid-level tier? Sorry, I'm just going to ask this really quickly.
Mid-level tier.
15 a month, or is it 20?
17, 18.
So let's go with $18 a month. That times 12, and then that times 35 million should be $7.56 billion. So they are 50%, effectively, at that point, 50% under their 100% return on position. That's a number that is appalling. Great, they crossed $5 billion in actual dollars coming from Game Pass, but the subscriptions alone should have been $7.56 billion at mid-level. If you want to take it down to the bottom end and say, well, let's not do it at 18, let's do it at 13 or whatever the bottom base level is.
$17 a month
is the base level.
No, $9.99 is the base level. $17 a month is Game Pass Standard, and then PC is $12 a month.
Yep. So if we said $10 a month is the baseline, then 35 million subscribers across the board is 4.2 billion. So yeah, they're outperforming it if it's at the baseline, but it's not. It should be take it at the mid tier, and they're underperforming. So, and that's the metrics that we don't get. They're saying, yeah, it's crossed 5 billion. Great. Investors will go, yeah, excellent. And the first thing I'm asking is, what was your maximum capacity? what should you have gotten for it? Because if you're running at 50% of your total capacity, you're not performing. You're giving too much away. And a 10% year-on-year growth for total gaming, when you've gone and been the main publisher on PlayStation, had all that additional impact, how is that actually, is it achieved what you were expecting it to achieve? Because last year, you hardly moved from the year before after buying ABK and all the rest of it. You expect that there should be some movement. But again, these are the sort of things that I go into. The analysis point is like, it's good, but is it as good as it should be, or is it as good as you're saying? Yeah. It all comes down to how it's being pitched. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it, if I'm being honest.
No, that makes total sense, and that's a perspective that I didn't see on it, because I saw the investor perspective. Like, hell yeah, that sounds great. Like, it sounds like exactly what they've been going towards and what they've been wanting. But you're absolutely right. If they want, it's like, so one of my favorite shows back when it was on, or back when I actually watched TV rather, as it might still be on, was Shark Tank. I loved Shark Tank. Thought it was a great show. Basically, if you're not familiar with it, it's where 4 basically billionaires are lined up in front, and people will come in and pitch their ideas and their products to them and get them to invest. They're talking to sharks to get them to invest in their business, right? And one of the things that they ask a lot is, what's your cost of customer acquisition? And that, to me, is like what you're talking about with, like, okay, cool, you have 5 million sales, you made $5 million, but, or you made, one of them was like, we have 5 million sales, we have X amount of sales, we made X amount of dollars, but their customer acquisition, what they were spending to acquire new customers, was like 50% of their total, like, revenue. And they were like, yeah, so, like, you need to change up what you were doing, because even though it looked good on paper, it's like, yeah, but you're spending way too much over here, and you're actually not hitting your goal because you're not making X amount or X percent off of your product. And so it's kind of that perspective that I didn't think about with regards to the Game Pass numbers. But it is interesting also that the PC Game Pass number, so to speak, is what the average is, right? If that 35 million is to be believed or is to be accurate, then the PC number of $12 a month is close to that. And so that's just an interesting stat line to me, at least.
Yeah, and if they say that's the predominant point, most of the console players are still sitting on the dollar stack piece, and all their growth in revenue is coming from PC. Then, look, great to hear that they're actually making money out of it. Excellent. But as a percentage of their overall revenue, it's still in that 10 to 15% range.
Yeah.
And it's not like the ABK acquisition has hardly shifted the needle in terms of that percentage mix. Putting COD in there has hardly shifted anything other than the PC growth. The PC growth is not netting them anywhere near as much as what they should be getting. So, anyway.
Yeah. All right, we will be following up on these. Sorry, guys, for the short thing tonight, for the short show. I don't have it in me to keep thinking. My wife and I were talking about that earlier. She was like, well, why don't you just do a video? And I was like, well, because I love hanging out with people, and I love talking about this crap. But she was like, but your thinking is, like, all over the place today, because I've been trying to manage pain since Sunday, or Sunday, yeah. And so, because of that, it's been very much, like, everything is being filtered through that. So, like, I pace and everything. She was like, well, why don't you, like, stream a video game or something? I was like, well, because I actually sit down while playing video games. And she was like, oh, okay, well, she was like, well, you pace all the time anyways during your show. And I was like, you know what? You're not wrong. So, through brainstorming with my wife, we were able to figure out that I could still do the show, but my muscle relaxer has worn off. The new one has not kicked in yet. Therefore, it feels like I have somebody stabbing me in my low back. I'm going to hop off of here now. Thank you all for being here. Faulkie, I know you have to go. I know you have meetings. And next week, guys, Game Logic is here. Please share this out. Can't wait to have him on. Really, really good gaming mind. And just a really cool dude. Like, Really cool dude. So yeah, we got him on, and super excited. Faulkie, you will be on here, I think, in a couple weeks after this. And so hopefully we don't have meetings taking up your time, and I have a back that lets me sit in my desk chair for longer than 40 minutes, or 10 minutes rather. Anyways, guys, thank y'all again so much. It looks like we are getting more viewers in here now, which is always how it works. I have to go. Y'all have a good night. Thank you again, Faulkie. Leave a comment, leave a like, all that stuff. Thank y'all.